Wine, you were in a trance again. Her voice was hushed but urgent, laced with concern as she leaned toward you and nursed your elbow hard. You jerked slightly, blinking back to the present. What the? You turned to glare at her, rubbing your arm in protest, but your irritation faded the instant you saw her expression. Beowulf's face was pale, her eyes wide as saucer, and her finger was trembling as she pointed behind you. Wine, behind you. Your breath catched slowly, hesitantly. You turned your head, and then your heart dropped to your stomach. Standing just a few steps away, arms crossed with the weight of thunder in his gaze, was none other than Professor Jungkook. Tall, severe, and exuding that icy authority that always seemed to drain the air out of the room. His obsidian eyes were locked onto you, dark brows slightly furrowed, his jaw ticked once then again. Your cheeks flushed instantly, heat crawling up your neck as if your thoughts had been catched spilling across your face. You had been completely lost in yesterday's incident, the way you had clumsily dropped his leather file in the corridor, spilling confidential documents like a storm of shame. His glare back then still haunted you. You open your mouth, voice shaky. Professor, the entire classroom was dead silent now. The only sound was the slow, intimidating echo of Jungkook's shoes as he took two steps forward. Then his voice came, low, smooth, but laced with steel. Miss Wine, he said your name so precisely it felt like a warning. I have called your name 3 times. Perhaps you didn't hear me over the sound of your own thoughts. You swallowed hard, the back of your neck prickled. You could feel the entire class watching, waiting. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Don't mean to what? Ignore me? He interrupted sharply. His voice never rose, but it sliced through you like a blade. Do you always come to class just to occupy the chair and waste oxygen, or is today a special occasion? A few students exchanged uneasy glances. You gripped the edge of your desk to ground yourself, your fingers trembling. No, sir, I zoned out. I zoned out, he repeated with disdain. Excellent, perhaps next time you would prefer to do it from the hallway. Your heart twisted painfully. You stood up abruptly, the chair screeching beneath you, and bowed your head slightly. I'm sorry, Professor, I truly am. I wasn't trying to disrespect you. For a moment, he said nothing, just stared hard and unreadable. Then he gave a faint scoff and turned his back to you. Sit down and make sure your mind stays in this classroom for the rest of the lecture. You sat down quickly, your legs shaky and your face burning with humiliation. Your breath felt trapped in your chest under the desk. Beol reached over and gently squeezed your wrist, whispering, I tried to call you. He looked so mad. I'm sorry. You gave a small nod, unable to speak. Your heart was still racing, but not just from embarrassment. It was also from something else, the way his voice still echoed in your ears. The way his eyes, no matter how cruel, had looked straight into yours like he could see everything you were hiding inside. Professor Jungkook turned toward the whiteboard, his back straight and posture sharp as he began the lecture again. His voice, smooth and commanding, filled the classroom like the beat of a slow, strict drum. The nucleus is the control center of the cell. It regulates gene expression and mediates the replication of DNA during the cell cycle. To try to focus this time truly, your eyes clung to your notes, your pen in hand, scribbling his words as fast as you could. But your gaze kept betraying you. Drawn to him, his black shirt clung neatly to his frame, sleeves rolled just slightly to reveal his veined forearms as he wrote across the board. His voice dipped low as he explained complex concepts, and every so often he pushed his hair back in that practiced, unconscious motion. And you helplessly watched him, not because he was your professor, but because he was your fiance. The memory of last night tugged at your chest, the soft ring still felt strange on your finger. The engagement ceremony had been small, your family smiling, your father proudly placing your hand into his, but Jungkook, he had not smiled once. He hadn't even looked at you. He didn't want this, he agreed because he was told to. You thought bitterly, blinking away the sting behind your eyes. Suddenly, you snapped out of your thoughts when you saw him turning. His eyes scanned the room as he walked back to his desk and landed right on you. You froze. His gaze was unreadable, sharp, assessing, cold. Panicked, you instantly looked down at your book and began underlining the word mitochondria 3 times, as if your life depended on it. He paused only for a second before continuing his lecture. And that's why cells require ADP to perform even the most basic metabolic functions. Make sure this is memorized before the quiz next week. And then, without another word, he closed his textbook, gathered his belongings, pen, file, iPad, and walked out of the room with the same cold, effortless elegance. The moment the door shut, you let out a small sigh. Why does he always walk like he's the villain in a K drama? You gave a weak chuckle but said nothing. Your heart was too heavy. He was always distant, always cold, not just with you, but with everyone. Still, sometimes he showed a strange softness toward you. Not warmth, but restraint, like he was forcing himself to stay distant. And it hurt more than if he had just ignored you altogether. After class, you and Beol headed to the cafeteria. You both chatted lightly about the upcoming assignments and shared some snacks, spicy rice cakes, and sweet buns. It was your small moment of peace. Okay, I'll be right back. Don't move. I need to use the washroom. Don't finish the bun without me. You laughed softly. I'm not that cruel. As she disappeared around the corner, you stood near the hallway waiting for her. The corridor was quiet, afternoon sunlight pouring through the tall windows, and then you heard footsteps, several. Turning slightly, you saw 4 boys approaching. They were not from your class. First, you recognized the type instantly flashy hairstyles, rolled up sleeves, cocky smile. Well, well, if it isn't the prettiest girl on campus, the tallest one sat with a smudge grin. Yeah, standing here all alone, is this fate? Keep walking, he said coldly, arms crossed. Oh, don't be so mean, we just wanted to talk. So, you look tense, sweetheart. Want a little fun? His tone dripped with mockery, and suddenly he stepped too close. You took a step back. I sat back off. He reached out, fingertips about to graze your sleeve. Touch her and I'll break your wrist. The voice was sharp, glacial, and laced with warning. The hallway froze, you turn your head, and there he was, Professor John Jungkook. He stood at the end of the corridor, his dark eyes burning with quiet fury, his figure still and controlled like a loaded weapon. The playboy paled instantly. Do I need to repeat myself? Professor, we were just my student. He took a step forward in the hallway of a college where I teach. No, sir, we didn't mean anything. Then disappear before I make sure none of you step foot in this building again. The boys didn't wait for a second warning. They scrambled like terrified children running down the hall without looking back. You were still frozen in place, heart pounding. Jungkook walked to you, eyes cold but focused. You should be more careful. You swallowed, finally speaking. Thank you. He looked at you for a long second, then exhaled softly. Next time someone bothers you, don't handle it alone. I didn't have a choice. He didn't respond, just gave you one last unreadable glance, then turned and walked away. His black coat swaying behind him like a curtain, closing on a scene you didn't know how to process. You stood there stunned, hands still clutching your bag, your thoughts echoing louder than ever. He saved you, but he didn't smile. He never smiled, especially not at you. After college ended for the day, you returned home with your thoughts still buzzing from earlier. His voice echoing in your head, the cold way he handled those boys, and the even colder way he looked at you afterward. You stepped inside your home, placing your bag down when your mom peeked her head out from the kitchen. Why and get ready quickly, Jungkook is coming to pick you up for wedding shopping. You blinked. What? You heard me? He called, he said he's on the way. It's just the two of you today. Your eyes widened in surprise, shopping with him alone. You sighed, trying to calm the weird flutter in your chest. Skipping lunch, you went straight to your room and changed into a soft beige dress with a white cardigan, tying your hair loosely and adding light gloss. No matter how distant he acted, he was still your fiance. The doorbell rang and your mom hurried to open it. Jungkook stepped in, dressed sharply in a caracol shirt, sleeves rolled. His face was unreadable as ever. His back watch gleamed faintly as he adjusted the strap of his sling bag. You stood quietly as he walked in, suddenly feeling your nerves spike. Wine, give him some juice, sit with him, I'll leave you to talk. Your cheeks flushed, but you obeyed. You walked over with the tray and placed the glass gently in front of him. Here. He barely glanced at you. Let's go. You blinked. That was it. No thank you, no smile. So cold. At the mall, you try to shake off the awkwardness. He walked beside you with his hands in his pockets, while you trailed with childlike curiosity, looking at dresses, shoes, and wedding accessories. You didn't realize your lips had curled into a genuine smile. For the first time, it was just the two of you, no one watching, no strict professor aura. You talked softly, even blabbered a little about the lace on her dress or how much you loved pink floor embroidery. Then suddenly, he chuckled, "You wanna eat something?" You were about to nod shyly when a new voice cut in from behind. "Yeah, Jungkook." Turning, you saw a group of well dressed guys walking over his friends. One of them with honey brown hair and a piercing smile stepped ahead. "Long time, man." With that were a few more. Ryu Minho, tall and lean with glasses. Jun Sok, more built and mischievous looking. Lee Hwan, casually dressed, chewing gum like he owned them all. They all greeted Jungkook with playful punches and bro hugs. You stood quietly beside him, holding your purse tightly like a scared kitten. "Yo, who's the pretty girl?" Jungkook looked at you for a moment, eyes flickering over your anxious expression. You were staring up at him like a deer in headlights, silently pleading for him to say something, anything. But then he looked away. "She's my student." Your heart dropped. You blinked at him, lips parting slightly. "Student? That's what he called you?" Your stomach churned and you looked away, holding back the burn behind your eyes. "Seriously, I'm your student. We're getting married next week, you ice block. I hate you. I seriously hate you. May your socks never match again." After a few more jokes and casual chats, his friends finally waved and left. He turned toward you, seemingly unbothered. "So, should we eat something? Your mom said you skipped lunch." "No thanks." Your voice was flat and you rolled your eyes. His brows twitched slightly. "Did she just roll her eyes at me?" You continued ignoring him, looking through bridal accessories and lehengas without asking his opinion. Every time he spoke, you responded with a hum and a shrug. The cold air between you could be sliced with a knife. Once the bags were packed and placed in the trunk, you both got in the car. He started the engine and glanced at you. "Wine?" You stayed silent, looking out the window. "Are you really going to act like this the whole day?" You kept ignoring him. With a deep sigh, he pulled the car over near a quiet parking area. Before you could react, he turned, unbuckled your seatbelt, and in one swift motion pulled you onto his lap. "What the?" Your son, completely still, his hands rested firmly on your waist, his jaw clenched, his eyes dark and unreadable. "I don't like being ignored." "Then don't call me your student like I'm no one." You tried to wiggle off, but he held you still. You huffed and rolled your eyes again, ready to say something sharp. But before the words even formed, he leaned in and kissed you. It wasn't soft or gentle, it was angry, frustrated, raw. His lips moved over yours like he was trying to shut you up to make you feel everything he refused to say aloud. Your hands froze on his chest, your heartbeat racing like thunder in your ears. When he finally pulled away, breathing Uneven, he whispered low. You're not just my student, why don't ever think that? He was still on his lap, his arms still around you, the echo of his angry kiss lingering on your lips. Your eyes narrowed, cheeks flushed, not from shyness but pure annoyance now. Then why did you introduce me as your student, huh? Your voice was sharp, your brows furrowed, staring directly into his eyes without backing down this time. He exhaled, his grip on your waist loosening slightly. Because of our age gap wine, your eyes widened a little at the sudden vulnerability in his voice. You're 19, I'm 31. People talk. This generation doesn't spare anyone. I didn't want them to look at you with disgust like you are a child who got wrapped with someone way older. That's literally what I want. Older than me. He ran a hand through his hair in frustration, looking away from you for a second before speaking again. Earlier today, I overheard two students in the hallway. They were talking about me, about us. One said, did you hear Professor Joan is getting married? The older laughed and said to a 19-year-old girl, is he out of his mind? She's probably doing it for his money. You, Stephen. His jaw clenched as he looked back at you, pain flashing across his eyes. I didn't want you to hear something like that. I didn't want you to be embarrassed, Ryan. I love you, but I don't know if you love me or if this marriage is just something you are doing out of pressure. His voice cracked slightly at the end, his grip around you loosened again, almost as if he expected you to pull away. But you didn't. Instead, without saying a word, you leaned forward, cupped his cheek softly. And kissed him. It was tender, slow, and full of silent reassurance. Your fingers trembled slightly on his skin, but you kissed him with certainty, pouring everything you couldn't put into words into that single moment. When you finally pulled back, his eyes were wide, shocked still. You gave a tiny smirk. There, now you were confirmed. You kissed me. Yes, and I wasn't forced. Professor Joan, his brows pulled together, still looking at you like he couldn't believe it. I thought you were only doing this marriage for your family, that you felt nothing for me. You leaned your forehead against his. I have felt something for you since you first scolded me in class. When you called me out by my name, when you stood up for me in that hallway, when you pretend you don't care but secretly give me extra time for assignments, I have always known you were not as cool as you act. He swallowed hard, clearly holding back every emotion he had tried to bury. You drive me crazy, Wine. I want to protect you, but I also want to claim you, and that scares me. You smiled, brushing your thumb over his cheek, then do both. He stared at you, lips slightly parted, and whispered to low only you could hear. You really are going to be the end of me.